This is the XF 16-55mm and it's widely regarded as one of Fujifilm's best lenses. But after 2 years of use, there are things I love about this lens and things I hate. Today we're going to go over all of that. Everything from image quality to build quality, from real life usability to practicality. So if you're looking to buy this lens, or maybe you already have this lens and you just want to hear someone talk about it, let's get started. We'll talk about the good stuff first. This lens is great for all the reasons you know. It's got great image quality and it's sharp throughout. It's one of those lenses where the glass really shines and you can really tell the difference from other lenses when you punch in. The build quality is also amazing. It's got a design that feels robust and nice to hold, and it also has weather sealing, meaning you don't have to worry too much about water or rain or whatever. A linear motor focusing system also means that you don't have to worry too much about autofocus. It's fast and it's quiet. Although I find it much more useful for photo than video. Sometimes it does hunt in video, but I usually just autofocus lock just in case. And so there are two main situations where I can use this lens with confidence: in portrait sessions or paid gigs, and making prints. During any portrait session or paid gig, I'll usually bring this lens in combination with the Fujifilm X-T4. And so sometimes I'll get a little bit nervous when I'm doing anything paid because it feels like I have to perform. But I do know a lot of this stuff is just in my head, and it's probably something I'll get better with practice. This lens, however, does give me some confidence that I'll at least get some good images. So ironically, it's kind of a lens I like to bring with me to act as sort of a buffer for image quality. The 16-55 is also something that's quite reliable when making prints. Sometimes I get slight imperfections when using lenses or other cameras or something, not to the point where it ruins the photo, but to the point where I can tell a little bit. And now this lens rarely has that because the optical quality is so good, so I know that it'll preserve those details, and I can trust that most of the image will still be sharp even when I'm making a larger print. So if you're someone looking for the best of the best in terms of Fujifilm's lineup, I'd recommend this lens. I can definitely notice the difference between this lens and other lenses, and I think image quality is really where this lens shines. Now let's talk about the main problem I have with this lens. 2 years ago, I made a review talking about how big this lens was, and 2 years later, it still is. Not that I was expecting it to somehow shrink over time or anything like that, but I was hoping that somehow I'd slowly get used to it. Now I know for some of you who are used to bigger DSLRs and larger lenses, this lens might actually seem quite small. But I'm a guy whose favorite camera is the Fujifilm X100V, so this lens is huge in comparison to that. I personally value size more than I do optical quality or optical greatness, and I prefer a camera that I can just sling around more casually and walk around and still get good pictures with. This is in part because I've learned this about my own photography, that it's more enjoyable when it's less of a task, not a chore, and I think of it less like a job. It's kind of just part of my life, and I just take pictures when the moment is there and with the camera I currently have on me. And so this lens has become something that I bring out when I'm more intentional about taking pictures. When there's some sort of photo shoot, some sort of gig happening, or the day is just really nice and I want the best image quality. But I've also noticed that it's often I get my best personal results when I'm just living life in the moment and I take pictures with whatever I have then. And so one of the things I've learned from using this lens for 2 years is that despite it being so good, I actually don't use it that much because I'm not too incentivized to bring it out. And for me, the value of a camera or lens or whatever is actually whether you use it or not. Does this camera or lens incentivize me to take pictures? Do I want to bring it out constantly? Is this something I can't keep my hands off of? And I've noticed that at the end of the day, the current photography projects that I'm working on don't even really require the best image quality possible. When working on this upcoming photo zine, I've noticed it's more about the pictures I use, the type of photos I take, how they relate to one another, the story that I'm trying to tell, how that's portrayed, and if others even get it in the first place. And the images that I use for that could have been captured with a rock for all I care. So I may soon let this lens go because it's more important for me to have a camera that I work well with that allows me to create what I want to create than just having the best image quality. This lens is too big. So if you're in the market for the 16-55, I'd first recommend to figure out what you would use it for. Ask yourself, why am I buying this lens in the first place? Am I looking for the best image quality, or do the pictures I even take even require that? And so if you are looking for the best of the best, you're doing professional work or something like that, then I would definitely recommend this lens to be part of your kit. However, if you're more like me, where how you create plays more of a bigger impact on what you create than just pure optical quality and image quality, then you might not need something like this. Ultimately, it's about understanding your personal use case scenario and not just buying something just because everyone says it's good. All in all, these were my conclusions after using this lens for the past 2 or so years. I hope some of these insights were able to help you in your own photography journey. Also, I'm currently giving out free 4x6 prints, so if you're interested, check the link down below. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Peace.